You know, it has to be said, a truly tremendous piece of synth work going on in this song. You know. I think that's quite enough, though. Quite enough. On copyrights. Music for one night. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh here to discuss all of the latest happenings in the world of Hollywood, and in this case, the latest happenings of one slightly demented individual who has rose to a certain position within Hollywood, a position of high esteem, an A-list actor, or we could say now formerly A-list actor. I'm talking about Ezra Miller, of course. If you've clicked on this either in the live stream or post live stream, and it is very much a recorded video up there to be clicked, then you'll know what the headline is. It's Ezra Miller breaks his silence, is seeking treatment. And I have added in the little question afterwards: can he return as the Flash? Can he really return as the Flash with this admission of his troubles, with this admission of the mistakes he has made, with this sort of treatment he's undergoing for mental health issues? Can he return to the role of Barry Allen in the future? Well, I mean, the movie's in the can, and we know for an absolute how baggy that fucking t-shirt is. It's incredible. I just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm putting a video out tomorrow. Reaction of Sacred Games. I'm singing Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill. 1992, 30 years ago. I feel like I'm living in 1992 with these clothes I'm wearing. They get bigger and bigger every fucking time I put them on my back. And it's not that I'm growing small, it's not Benjamin Button, it's just a deliberate choice by me to wear baggy ass clothes. There's no going back now. Shoulder seam ends like fucking 2 inches after my shoulder does. But anyway, I digress. This isn't about me, it's not about my t-shirts, it's not about 1992, it's about Ezra Miller. Look, I'll bring this up. Look man, he's always been one of the more stranger actors in Hollywood today. There's some strange people in Hollywood. Anne Hesh, who passed away this week, fucking drinking vodka, allegedly driving her Mini Cooper Clubman at well over 80 miles an hour down a residential street in LA. Fucking wipes out a house, nearly kills 2 dogs, an owner of the actual house, and I think a turtle was another animal that was in the house at that point. She's fucking strange. She's obviously lost her life because of her strangeness. In a world that is strange, Ezra Miller stands out as being strange. And this is a guy that has been acting oddly for years now. This isn't something new. This guy has been turning up to Comic-Cons dressed as Miss Toad. He's been turning up to red carpet events in huge down jacket fucking dress things. This guy's a strange person. I'm just going to double check that intro, so away it is now. So this isn't like new behaviour, he's always been eccentric, Ezra. You then add in the slow descent into madness that has been happening over the course of the last 1 or 2 years. And look, I fundamentally believe the pandemic and the isolation of the pandemic has had an impact on everyone's mental health. But if you're already a bit crazy to begin with, and you go down that slippery slope into madness, fame's there, you're maybe not handling it so well. I've got a degree of sympathy, but it's not something that should come as a surprise to Ezra, his family, his confidants, the studio. It's plural if he's working for multiple, but of course just now the ones in mind are Warner Brothers, because they are overseeing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, that franchise, and obviously Flash in the DCEU, if it's still a thing. They changed the name of it I can't recall what the fuck they changed it to. It shouldn't be a surprise to Warner Brothers. This guy has been teetering on the edge for a number of years now. Sansarder, incidentally, was in before I even came on. I don't know if he came in at 10 o'clock. I came on late. Or whether he came in way before 10 o'clock. I set this up 2 hours in advance. And he had this to say about it. He is beyond recovery. Toxic people always stay the same no matter what. He knows what that he's getting cancelled and his films are sidelined. So in order to gain sympathy, he blamed it on mental problems. Look, some of that I agree with Sarder. I think he's maybe beyond redemption in terms of Hollywood. At least for now, he has to show some penance and really claw his way back to the position he's in just now. Where I would maybe diverge from your opinion is the whole cancellation thing. I don't think Ezra Miller cares about being cancelled. He's not really in the group that it gets cancelled normally. He is a white male, but even then he isn't, because he uses the them their pronouns. Now I'm not going to go into the whole them their stuff, the pronouns. I'm just going to refer to him as Ezra, as a man. I'm not going down that slippery slope. I'm not dancing myself into fucking corners. Try to use pronouns. I want you to know where to begin. So I'm just going to keep it simple. He's not really a guy that would usually have to worry about getting cancelled anyway. I genuinely don't think he cares about it. I don't know if he's blamed it on mental health problems either. I think he genuinely has had a manic episode the last year, maybe 2 years. He's been in a dark place. He's been a bit crazy. You can never fully justify the kind of behaviour this guy is rumoured to have been getting involved with young girls and stuff, separating them from the family. Does come across as grooming behaviour. But at the same time, she's also come out and says that it's all bollocks, none of it's true, and he's not been charged with anything. So I think the only thing he's been charged with is the actual breaking into a property somewhere in the United States and stealing alcohol. It's fucking crazy when you see it. This is a multi-millionaire actor and he's stealing into houses, empty houses, and drinking alcohol. You can just go and buy the alcohol, Ezra. You're loaded, mate. I can't get my head around the rationale, but that is clearly what I'm getting at. The mindset of a mentally ill person. The guy is clearly not been in our reality. And he said as much. I don't come from this universe. Catch me if you can. So he's been, as you can see here, embroiled in multiple legal controversies. He's had restraining orders taken out. He's been breaking up karaoke sessions in Hawaii, throwing darts at people under the influence of alcohol, maybe drugs as well. We know about this. This is nothing new in Hollywood. We've had people go off the precipice many times before. Mel Gibson, it's the one that springs to mind right away. T.J. Miller, fucking making up bomb threats in trains and stuff like that, really went off a cliff edge mentally. So this isn't something new, and we have seen actors come back from this. We've seen Robert Downey Jr. have his drug problems, come back from it. He's now very much in the A-list gang again. Mel Gibson has made Academy Award nominated movies since his slip into the abyss. So it's not out with the realms of possibility that Ezra can claw himself back from this abyss that he's currently in. The question I asked though is, can he come back and reprise his role as Barry Allen? Can he return as the Flash? And I think, without even getting into the article here, the answer to that is most definitely no. I don't think we will ever see Ezra back playing the Flash ever again. That is done. Finished. Warner Brothers will not ever greenlight another Flash movie with Ezra Miller as the title or lead. It's just not going to happen. It's done. Even taking into account this movie's not coming out next year, and there is long periods in between these kind of movies being made, and the chances of him reprising the character could be 4, 5, 6 years out. It's finished. It's done. He won't be back. The separate question is, as I says there, can he come back and have an acting career? And I think he absolutely can come back and have an acting career if he gets his shit together. He surrounds himself with the right people. By all accounts, he's with his mother just now. She's keeping him in order. But anyway, I'll get into the statement. This is what Ezra had to say he put a statement out which was shared to Variety, and he had this to say. I don't know if he's wrote this. I don't know if a legal representative has wrote this. I don't know if his mother has wrote this. But someone fronting Ezra Miller said this in a statement. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I think that's the biggest understatement of today at least. I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues. I think that's clear, to be fair. And I've got respect for him owning up to it. And have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologise to everyone. This chair is going to put me into intense crisis if it flicks back again. I've begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologise to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behaviour. I am committed to doing... The fuck is going on with this website? I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe and productive stage in my life. Look, whether he returns as Barry Allen, the Flash, whether he can get back to the position he held before this episode, these instants, as an actor, respected in Hollywood, very much in the rise, meteoric, worked his arse off, young guy, 29, whole world ahead of him, whole life ahead of him, world at his feet I should say. That's neither here nor there. First and foremost, he's owned up to the fact that he's made mistakes. He's owned up to the fact he's been through an intense crisis. He's admitted that he has mental health problems, and you've got to fucking respect that, because this is a world which frowns upon mental health, frowns upon it, stigmatises it, goes out its way to demonise certain individuals who have had mental health issues. So I respect the guy for stepping up and saying, look, I've got fucking issues, I've been through some shit, and I apologise to everyone who's been involved with me during this period in my life, period in time. I've got nothing but respect for the guy for admitting it, for looking to grow as an individual, come out the other side, hopefully productive, hopefully a better person for it. Hopefully he can come back into society and have a fulfilling life. Hopefully he can get back acting, like the likes of Robert Downey Jr. before him did, because he's a brilliant actor. He's a fantastic actor, man. Really, really talented. All the great actors have that eccentricity. They have that slight craziness within their DNA. That's what makes them so brilliant. The likes of your Brando's had it. Your fucking Pacino's got it. De Niro's had it. Don't know if he's got it now. They've all got it, man. Even Jim Carrey, who is underrated as a great drama actor because of the esteemed comedic career he had in the 90s. He's done some really wacky stuff, and he's got that eccentricity within him. All of the great actors have a level of eccentricity, a level of madness within. It's just trying to harness it positively. Christian Bale's another one that springs to mind. So I'd like to think he can come through this, he can get the treatment he needs, hopefully reset with the people around him who will look after him, will ground him, and hopefully he can come back and be a fucking tremendous actor, if indeed what happened with the girl in Hawaii and the family was all hogwash, as she says it was. Because if he has been involved in grooming underage girls, not the first time again in showbiz that's happened. There's been lots of individuals, Elvis, fucking Jerry Lee Lewis, Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, all had some really fucked up, weird things going on with girls they shouldn't be anywhere near, but they seem to get on fine afterwards. That aside, if that's not true, then look, I'm all for him coming back and recovering. Never going to come back as the Flash show, never. But I respect him tremendously for coming out and admitting he's got a problem. That's halfway to being a better person, man. Hopefully he can go the full way and actually become a better fucking person at the end of it, because he's fucking great, and I want to see the guy get healthy, get well. It's painful watching people in that situation. I've had family members who have been in that situation, albeit before I was born, and they've come out the other side. Brilliant people. So I'll never stigmatise, never. But man, if you've got anything to say about that, comment down below. Share your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm intrigued to hear, like Sansarda, before the show even started, what your thoughts are on Ezra Miller, the whole controversy, the instances he's been involved in. Do you think he could come back as a Flash? Do you think he can get his shit in order? Do you think Warner Brothers will, I don't know, forgive him and allow him to continue in that role. Share your thoughts, just as an actor in general, can he recover to where he was before and act again on a high level in big blockbuster movies? Share your thoughts down below if you have anything to say about that. I'm intrigued to hear it. We will get back to you, I'm sure, if you do, and it's all within reason. We're not going to get back to certain comments, they'll just get deleted. But look, I'm moving on to the next topic. It's this one here. It's Mark Ruffalo. It's actually a triple topic because there's 3 different things I'm going to touch upon within this singular topic. But it's Mark Ruffalo. He's been out speaking about Avengers Secret Wars, of course, the up and coming Avengers movie. I see up and coming. It's about fucking 6 years down the road, minimum 5-6 years, I think. The first of a double header. I think it's this thing, Kang Dynasty. I think that's what it's called anyway. I'd have to look at it. But he's been out and he says that it will, and I'm going to read it here, rival Avengers Endgame. I've asked the question down there, will Secret Wars rival Endgame? I'd like to put Avengers Endgame, but I didn't have enough fucking space in the topic bar to do it. Mark Ruffalo thinks it will. Whether Mark Ruffalo's even in Secret Wars when it happens is another thing, because he's got a cousin who's popping up in She-Hulk shortly, and she is going to be stealing his thunder, it looks like, because she is great in that role. She's younger. This guy's getting on, and he's Smart Hulk, and there's an ever dwindling, I think, demographic within the population who want to see Smart Hulk doing his thing. People want to get back to Ravaging Hulk, the guy that smashes things, jumps off buildings and rips people's heads off. The kind of Hulk that made people nervous when Bruce was in the room. That's the Hulk people want. We don't want this fucking Smart Hulk for much longer. We'll tolerate it for She-Hulk, but if there's not a regression in the character, then I'm not even sure I want to see Mark Ruffalo in Secret Wars. So I don't know why he's talking about it, but look, we'll get into it. At the She-Hulk launch event, this is Entertainment Tonight, Mark Ruffalo says he's down for a World War Hulk movie. Even Mark's getting bored with Smart Hulk, because for a World War Hulk movie to work, it has to be Hulk smash, Ravager Hulk doing his thing, not Smart Hulk. And he reveals how Avengers Secret Wars will be even bigger than Endgame. He has to say that. He can't say, we're doing 2 Avengers movies in the next 4, 5, 6 years, but don't watch them, because they're going to be worse than the previous 2 we released. Don't stick around for it, guys. It's going to be shit. Of course he's going to promote the movie. Of course he's going to say it'll be every bit as good as Endgame, if not better. But this is what he had to say anyway. Well, it's going to be hard to top Endgame. Fucking understatement of the century there. Endgame didn't even top Infinity War. Infinity War's a better movie than Endgame. There you go. I'll put that cat in amongst the pigeons. So you're not trying to top Endgame, you're trying to top Infinity War, Mark. That's the best. That is the gold standard for Avengers movies. But he's willing to say this, but if I know Kevin and if I know Marvel, it's going to be pretty amazing. It's going to be a big bang. We'll go out with a big bang. Now, this is why I spoke about this first and foremost. I always wanted to speak about Secret Wars anyway, because it's what's next Avengers movie. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I want to see Marvel get their shit together, because the last couple of projects have been they've been a bit meh from reports. So I want to see them get back on an even keel. I want to see them making great content, continuing to build this universe until it can't be built anymore and we have to reboot the entire thing. And for that to happen, Secret Wars rivaling Endgame, being every bit as good as the end of the Infinity Saga, that means it's a culmination of great work being put out there, a culmination of the fans buying into it, people buying tickets and making these movies a success. That's the only way we'll see Secret Wars rivaling Endgame on a critical level, on an acting artistic level, on a box office level, is if it all comes together and they finally get back to that standard they were setting when we had Steve Rogers and Tony Stark doing their thing. That's why I wanted to speak first and foremost about that. But that comment at the end, will go out with a big bang, I found that very interesting. Why would Mark and Hulk begin out with a big bang if we are perhaps in the middle stage of this universe and we've got more to do with Fantastic Four, with maybe the X-Men mutant characters coming in? Why would it be the Endgame? Why would it be a big bang, get out with a big bang with Mark? I found that a very interesting comment. It was a giveaway moment. Ruffalo has been known to be a bit of a Sith alongside Tom Holland with information. Does Mark know more than we do? Obviously he does, but is he letting us into a little secret there? We'll go out with a big bang. Is this the end of the MCU? This upcoming phase 2, fucking part 2 of phase, I don't know what fucking phase we're in. I know we're in 4 or 5. You know what I mean? It's segmented with multiple phases during the Infinity Saga. We're going to have multiple phases during the sort of Kang multiverse saga. Is the end of this saga with Kang and multiverse going to be the end of the MCU as we know it? I found that very interesting. I thought that was a bit of a Freudian slip there from Mark. We were talking about it last night. I'm going to be talking about Giancarlo Esposito again, because he's heavily pushing to be in this universe as Charles Xavier, which I don't think is going to happen, because it's going to have to be recast with an actor who has longevity, and Giancarlo's 63, sadly. He's getting on in years. I think we are coming to the end of this universe. I really do. I think before they introduce X-Men, there's going to be a reboot. I don't see the X-Men coming in and fighting alongside, fighting against, sharing a screen with the likes of Chris Hemsworth, Sam Wilson, obviously Anthony Mackie, that version of Captain America. All the characters we've loved over the last 10, 12 years, I think they're going to bite the bullet in one way or the other, either cinematically or just in terms of the actors fucking off and not getting their contracts renewed. I think we're going to get a new Steve Rogers. I think we're going to get a new Tony Stark. I think we're going to get a new Spider-Man potentially. We're going to reboot the entire thing. We're going to bring the X-Men in and do it right, because that's ultimately what I feel they have to do. You can't have X-Men and not have Steve Rogers and Tony Stark in there. It just feels weird to me. You do it right. So I found that interesting. He's speaking about Secret Wars. He's speaking about them going out with a big bang. We know the Guardians are going to change. They're going to be forever finished as the way we know them just now after Guardians 3. I think we're coming to the end of the MCU. I really do, and I think it's the correct time to do it. And I think it's going to be this fucking guy here who's going to do it. I think he's going to end a lot of the Avengers and the heroes we know right now. Look at this guy. This is on the set of Creed 3. Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror, of course. The current big bad in the cinematic universe. Simu Liu, incidentally, also seen an image of his soon-to-be co-star on an Avengers movie, and he says, "Bro, the Avengers are straight up fucked." And they really are, man. I mean, I'm looking at that screen because it's bigger. Look at the physique. Look at the shape this man has got himself into. Now, I'm not saying he was ever podgy or fat before. Clearly not. He's a Hollywood actor. But he is jacked. He's got abs showing. Well-developed deltoids. Bicep, tricep, chest. Fucking traps are out of this universe. This guy means business. He's getting jacked up not just to play potentially a fighter, maybe an opponent for Adonis Creed. I was losing my mind there in the upcoming Creed 3. But I think this is just the dedication to Kang the Conqueror as well. I think we're seeing this guy really putting in the graft. We know that Jonathan Majors is a tremendous actor. We know he can do it in front of a camera. It's just the physicality he's going to have to bring. He's admitted already he's playing 4, 5, 6, 7 different versions of Kang the Conqueror throughout this saga. And they're all going to take on different levels of physicality and different levels of performance, personality. I'm just loving the fact that I just thought I'd connect that into the story I was speaking about before. The dedication he's bringing to this role. He is jacked out his nut. This is your big bad. You may get Doctor Doom, but this guy's the daddy. And Kevin Feige's confirmed it. And if you're going to be the daddy, you best look good being the daddy, and this guy looks good being the daddy. He is dialed in tremendous shape. I'm going to end this little triple topic, speaking about Giancarlo again. We spoke about Giancarlo last night, speaking probably about the same fucking thing, to be fair. He's added a little bit more in here though, so I'm going to flesh it out a bit. Of course, speaking about how he would portray a Charles Xavier, a Professor X, if he was cast, and he certainly wants to be cast as that character in the MCU. He's obviously went on to speak about his detailing of his meetings with Kevin Feige, with Marvel Studios, how he was offered a role, presume as a variant on the TV show Loki. And this is what he had to say, Giancarlo. He says, and I like his thinking here, because there has been actors come in and portrayed characters in the MCU, in franchises like this, in minor roles, and probably completely screwed up their chances in the future of getting a bigger, more meatier role. Because you've seen their face, you can't really do anything with them. The best example I can think of is what I presume to be the upcoming reboot of Deadpool. Because of course Cable, I think that's his name, exists in the Fox Deadpool universe, played by Josh Brolin. But Josh, although he was CGI'd as a big purple freak show, i.e. Thanos, in the MCU, still get that recognisable features. So I don't think he can continue into the MCU as Cable, alongside the likes of Deadpool and all the other characters we've seen. The one with luck, played by Zazie Beetz. That's an example of a brilliant actor who's done it the right way. He's played a big fucking huge character in Thanos, and now he's screwed his chances of playing a minor character. This would have been in the opposite. This would have been the yin to the yang of that. The reverse, if you'd like. This is what I had to say. In the Marvel universe, if you do something in television, one character, you can't switch and play a different character. So this is Giancarlo giving us an exclusive that Josh Brolin will in fact not be back as Cable in the MCU. You heard it here first, guys. So out of that meeting, which was really wonderful, I had some interest in doing something with them, which they've since done. I think it was Loki at that time, and something else. Someone else has done Loki. I bet it was the Richard E. Grant variant he's talking about. That's great. In television, I'd like to be invited to the table to do something in film, because I have a big persona and I've been in the television world for a while, and I've still got some movies each year. Well, I like the modesty of Giancarlo. He's got a big persona. He's absolutely right. He has. He shouldn't be modest. He's a brilliant actor. But I like the thinking. He's like, nope, I could play a variant of Loki. That would be interesting. It's an interesting little project you've got there. But bitches, I'm fucking bigger than that. I'm Giancarlo Esposito. I'm a better actor than that. You can do better. I'm going to just pass on that for now. Hit my phone up, bitch. You can call me on my cell phone when you've got something I actually want to get my teeth into and play. And of course, as I says, roughly about 2 minutes ago, give or take, he wants to play Professor Xavier. And this is what he had to say on this. I may be rehashing what we spoke about yesterday. I'm just checking to see if there's any other quotes. There is not. This is the end of it. He had this to say. I have not worked for Marvel yet. I have been in the room and talked with them. So there's been a talk of Magneto, which is who I'd personally like to see him maybe portray, but even then he's a bit old to play Magneto. Eric. Even then, I don't think it would work. Because he has to be youthful, man. You think Stephen was right what he said yesterday. You think of the character, obviously the older versions, what with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart in the early 2000s, because there was no real plans of a cinematic universe. They were doing maybe 1, 2, 3 movies that would traverse, 6, 8, 10 years. You could cast them slightly older, and then they've got enough time to get the story done. They then went down the route they went. Fox went back and gave us prequels, and then they cast the likes of James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, guys who had more longevity, could give more to the roles over a longer period of time. This is what the likes of Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios should be thinking. This is the way they should be thinking if they're going to bring these characters in to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, be it in its current form or rebooted with a new Steve Rogers, with a new Tony Stark, with a new fucking Black Widow. You get the gist. Younger actors. And sadly, as much as I love Giancarlo, he's not young anymore. He's 63 years of age. So I think the window has closed for him with Charles Xavier. But I digress, this is what you went on to say anyway. Who else has been there? Has there been talk about over there? What is this? I need to read this again. Who else has there been talk about over there? Oh yeah. That wasn't working in my mind there, that English. I'll read that one more time. Who else has there been talk about over there? That's the correct intonation. It just wasn't working for me there. Oh, Doom, Doctor Doom, and then there is, Doom would be a fucking shout, but he's a big muscly guy, isn't he? Professor X. Esposito revealed earlier this month, before declaring the Marvel role he truly has his eyes on, I am going to go for something that's a little bit different. I'm going to go and put it out in the universe that it's Professor X. Well, as I says, without repeating myself, Giancarlo, I don't think you'll be playing Professor X unless it is some multiversal version which we will explore in some future story, who doesn't have a permanent fixture, anchor if you'd like, in this universe. I don't see you playing Charles Xavier, my friend. And it pains me because I'd love to have seen a 40-year-old Giancarlo playing Charles Xavier. He'd have done a brilliant job of it. So for me, I don't know who Giancarlo can play in this universe. It doesn't really matter in the long run, as long as it works and it fits into what Feige and the Marvel creative team are planning leading up to this movie right here, Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty. As long as it works, it makes sense for Kevin and the gang, then I'm sure it will make sense for the fandom as well. But ultimately, man, getting back to this question I started about 15 minutes ago with Mark Ruffalo, will Avengers Secret Wars rival Endgame? Who fucking knows, man? It's like 6-7 years away. 5-6 years away. Time will tell. It could. I would never put anything beyond Marvel and Disney, and Kevin Feige in particular. But I'd say it's unlikely, because it was lightning in a bottle. It was a culmination of 11 years of very hard work. The Godfather-like patriarchal figure of Robert Downey Jr. keeping the whole gang together. Tony Stark, the ultimate development of that character, sacrifice at the end. All the elements come together that made that universe work and be so special, that wasn't prevalent in other universes. In cinema, Universal have tried it, DC have tried it, Warner Brothers of course, and failed. Marvel had the special ingredients, they had the secret recipe if you like. And we've seen in this new phase, it's just not quite the same without those titanic figures of Captain America. And of course, Iron Man. You're missing something palpable. And I don't know if they can build. I hope they can. A sort of coherent momentum, a story that leads into this and can beat that movie, beat the double header of Infinity War and Endgame. They were special. They really were. But wait, man, I'm going to move on. Next topic. Going off away from the sort of demented craziness of Ezra Miller and the superhero settings of obviously Hulk and Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, and moving into the slightly more demented world of Chris Nolan's audition process, and of course the way he likes to make movies without chairs on the set. Doesn't want his actors sitting down. And more the power to Chris. If you want to keep the energy up, you want to feel something special in a movie, you've got to have the actors up for it. Who wants to sit down when you're acting with Chris fucking Nolan? No one. Well, I don't know if Aaron Taylor-Johnson sat down and had a conversation with Chris Nolan during takes on the set of Tenet. Well, I do, because it was this fucking movie that we're talking about. So he didn't sit down, he was standing. That's probably why he's in such good shape. But look, he was out he was out speaking about the audition process for Tenet, and by all accounts a challenging process, but worth it in the end, because he played a very memorable role in this movie, a movie I loved quite a bit. This is what I had to say. He was speaking to THR and he explained, despite his impressive resume, even getting into a room with Nolan to get an audition for Tenet was a remarkably difficult process. He's a big fan of Nolan, aren't we all? One of the true great directors. Dances to a different beat as the rest of Hollywood, from the rest of Hollywood. I just love him, man. But this is what he had to say. Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I remember a time when it was just Aaron Johnson, I think it was. I don't think it was ever Taylor. I think that's his wife's name. It was Aaron Johnson with Nowhere Boy and movie Kick-Ass. Then he became Aaron Taylor-Johnson. And like all things in life, once you get a new phone, a new car, a new dog or whatever, because I'm putting a dog in with cars and phones, you just become used to it. It's as if they've always been there. It's like, there wasn't a time before I had a dog. There wasn't a time before I had this car. What do you mean I lived without a mobile phone for 30 years? Bullshit. For some people. I mean, it was much shorter time for me, the mobile phone thing. You slip into a world where it's normalised. And now I can't see Aaron Taylor-Johnson without thinking, yeah, that's his name. But there would have been a time where I thought, what the fuck have you done, mate? Why have you did that? But with that aside, this is what I had to say about Tenet, the auditioning process, meeting Nolan, and getting a role in this fucking movie. He said this: Chris Nolan is, of course, a legendary filmmaker. Inception is one of my top favourites that I go back to, along with Memento, which is probably my personal favourite of Nolan's, incidentally. I mean, they're all up there, really, but Memento is wonderful. Just fucking top tier filmmaking, that. Top tier story. Just tremendous. And of course, in his Dark Knight series, he's just a filmmaker I wanted to be in awe of and involved with. And I always admire filmmakers like him, or Wes Anderson, who work with the same actors a lot. Nolan's another, Tarantino's another one that does that, of course. So then there's an opportunity to work with someone like Chris Nolan. You just hope to get your foot in the door. He's always going to have his go-to actors: Cillian Murphy, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gary Oldman, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean. He's go-to actors anyway. I'd have to look into it. But he's right. He does have his go-to actors. He's got his go-to fucking cinematographer and composer: Hoyt van Hoytema, Hans Zimmer, or Ludwig Göransson in the case of Tenet. And obviously, you get from the door. You go to actors, as says you never know if someone is going to come around. Something's going to come around or not. John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki, whoever you say that name, were already on board, weeks away from shooting, and I was just waiting in the wings and putting my hand up, going, I would really love to get in a room with Chris Nolan. And it was quite a process, if I'm being honest. I went through a couple of different castings before I could even get in the room to do another audition for him. So it wasn't a done deal. But the best things are worth fighting for and putting yourself out on a limb. So it didn't come about that easy, but luckily he gave me the part, and it didn't matter to me how big or small the role was. I just wanted to be in his presence on his next movie. Well, it was quite a reasonable sized role, to be fair to Aaron. It wasn't the equivalent of Kenneth Branagh playing the villain, or John David Washington, Robert Pattinson playing your sort of co-heroes, or your Elizabeth Debicki playing the troubled wife of the villain, and also has a big role in the movie. Goes full circle. You see her at the start, you see her at the end. But it was like a secondary tier role. I think he was actually on a par with Elizabeth Debicki, to be fair, in terms of role size. Maybe in terms of influence, overall influence on the story, not quite on that level. But still a very sizable role for him, and I enjoyed him in it. It was cool hearing that sort of Cockney accent come out in this world where there was none of that, really. You had the sort of posh English gentleman, the dulcet tones of Robert Pattinson's Neil. But it was a good role, and he's absolutely right. It's important to get your foot in the door with these directors, because moving forward it may stand you in good stead of getting roles in future movies. Cillian Murphy being the best example. He pops up in the Dark Knight franchise, he pops up in Inception, and now he's popped up in the upcoming Oppenheimer movie with Chris Nolan. He is leading the movie. He is the main man. So he's absolutely right to try and get his foot in the door. He's a brilliant actor, very charismatic, likeable guy off the screen. Seems to go on well with a multitude of different people from different eras of acting. You watch the press junkets with Bullet Train, and he's having a blast with Brian Tyree Henry. He's having a blast with Brad Pitt. He's a really likeable guy. And I just watched, and I've seen him in so many brilliant movies. As a chameleon actor, he can do action, he can do the Snipers fucking film with John Cena, which is really tense and it's a sort of thriller. He can do your maybe more silly, comedic superhero stuff in the likes of your Kick-Ass. He does biopics, he plays John Lennon, one of my heroes. So he's a brilliant actor, and I'm glad to see he got in the door, he got through the process, he didn't get a seat at the end. So the process didn't get much easier for him. But he delivered a great performance in the movie. And it's a movie to this day I'll fight for. I think it was brilliant. I love Tenet. I went to see it twice within a week in the theatres during the pandemic when it was ripping through the populace. I did not give a fuck. Nothing would have stopped me watching Nolan's brilliance on the silver screen. I loved the movie. I like cerebral movies. I like the way that he directs. I like the way that he gives us lots of exposition. And you speak about Memento, this was like a sort of culmination, it grown, that sort of Memento kind of vibe, grown as an actor, a director, grown with his influence in Hollywood. I loved it. But moving on. Obi-Wan. It would be incident. I need to get into the habit of this, man. We'll go back. If you've got anything to say about that topic, incidentally, Stephen did it last night. I need to start doing it. If you've got anything to say about Aaron Taylor-Johnson's trials and tribulations of getting into a room to have an audition for Tenet with Christopher Nolan, comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Share your thoughts there. You know what, I'll go back so Stephen can cut it as well. There you go, right, we'll go right back to this, because I didn't do it for this either. If you get any thoughts on Avengers Secret Wars, will it rival Endgame? Share your thoughts down below if you get anything to say about that. We're intrigued to hear your thoughts. We'll comment back. There you go, Stephen, I'll help you out. You can edit that together for clips that can go out on the channel. If you want to hear me gibbering a lot of shit, Stephen, that is, in editing, it's in there. You can edit that on. I don't know how it'll work. I'll probably be in a completely different position. But there you go, I've helped you out, Stephen. But look, we're speaking about Obi-Wan, and the show I'm talking about obviously on Disney Plus, and how it would have originally have focused on the relationship between Ben, obviously Obi-Wan, Kenobi, and Luke, motherfucking Skywalker. Now this was a story that I thought we were going to get when it was confirmed we were getting an Obi-Wan TV show. Of course, Obi-Wan was a character who lived the life of a hermit on Tatooine. He'd chosen to look after Luke. He'd gave Princess Leia over to Bail Organa and his wife, whatever her name is. And of course Yoda just decided, look, I'm too fucking old for this babysitting nonsense. I'm just going to retire to Dagobah with the swamp monsters and make lamb stew. And slowly but surely lose my mind, my cognitive abilities over the course of 20 years. So of course the natural assumption when you make a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi, in between the events of Revenge of the Sith, I had to think about that there, because there is another trilogy now, fan fiction though it is in my mind, in between Revenge of the Sith and also A New Hope, the natural assumption would be that it is going to focus on him overlooking Luke Skywalker, on the demons of Darth Vader, of course getting whisked away to do different things. You wouldn't expect a guy of like Obi-Wan to be stuck, marooned on this planet, and of course they had Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru there, looking over Luke, making sure he was alright, babysitting him. So I thought we would get planet hopping like we got in the actual TV show. I thought we would get exploration of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I thought it would have been more mental, psychological, him haunting his dreams, which we did get briefly. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd get the fighting and the interactions physically present on a world. I fucking loved that. I loved the cracked skull, cracked helmet, and actually getting to see the conflict within Vader as early as this show was set. I thought that was really well realised onto the screen. But I thought that it would be as they were originally going to do, and it's confirmed, I'll get to it in a moment. It's actually Ewan that's saying it himself. I thought the actual story that Leia takes up in the TV show would be Luke Skywalker, because of course, as I did say, Leia has a family on Alderaan. She's been looked after by Bail Organa on Alderaan. So why, in my mind's eye, would they have Leia involved? But of course they did have Leia involved, and of course it opened up a whole can of fucking worms. Canon, she's not supposed to know who he is. She's speaking in very vague terms during that message in A New Hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. My father fought with you during the Clone Wars. That doesn't hint to a relationship, an actual person-to-person relationship being established between Obi-Wan and Leia. You can get round it. The whole Star Wars fucking universe cinematically is littered with retcons, issues getting ironed out after the events. So it's not a huge issue for me. I actually didn't mind Leia in it. I thought she was played, as you can see here, by Vivian Lyra Blair. I thought she'd done brilliant. The actor, young 9-year-old actress, 10-year-old actress, performed the role reasonably well. There was some teething issues. Certainly the chase scenes were a problem for me, but I think that was probably more the story's fault. It wasn't the actor's fault. You shouldn't really be having grown men chasing a 10-year-old girl. It doesn't work. The size difference is just fucking weird as well, let's be honest. Flea, of all people. And just the technology, this, I always forget the name of the technology, but the technology they use, the encompassing screen technology. If you're going to do a chase scene within very limited space, it's not going to pop well onto the screen. So I had my issues with the actor, or the character, in parts, but the actress I thought in the main did a brilliant job. But there is a degree of slight bitterness for me, being a huge Luke Skywalker fan. For me, he is Star Wars. I've said that. I've been very open in my opinions about Star Wars. Luke Skywalker for me is Star Wars. And so for me, when you've got that open goal, to use a football terminology, to bring a young Luke Skywalker in, have him be under the sort of stewardship, I don't know, under the mentorship of Obi-Wan Kenobi, then you've got to use it. You've got to grasp that opportunity and go full in. But they didn't do it. But I'll get into it. Ewan had this to say. Hello, Pav. You're not late. I'm early. To be fair, I started the show about an hour earlier. Well, not really, to be fair. When Stephen does shows, we tend to do it at 10 o'clock. It's only when I'm doing solo shows, it's usually like 11 o'clock at night, half 11, sometimes 12 o'clock AM. I like to roll, because I'm a fucking crackpot. So it's actually me, I'm slightly earlier than normal, to be fair. And in any case, you're not obligated to come in, Pav, so don't worry about it. But this is what Ewan had to say, though, about the story, the original concept of Obi-Wan, and his enjoyment over all things production, storyboarding, the full shebang relating to Obi-Wan. He had this to say: it was going to be a story about me and Luke. It was always going to be that. And that was one of the genius moments where everyone went, wait a minute, and then changed it. Of course they did. Of course they fucking changed it. As I said, I'm still slightly bitter. I don't hate the actress. I love Leia as a character as well. She's a brilliant character. Huge part, the holy trinity of Star Wars. Han Solo, Leia, Luke Skywalker. I should have said Luke first, because for me he's the man in Star Wars, as I did say. But I can't even hide my bitterness, man. Luke for me is Star Wars. You had Luke there on Tatooine with Obi-Wan. They should have explored Luke more. It was one of my gripes with this series. We should have had more Obi-Wan and Luke. We got moments. There was some lovely moments, but we should have got more. And even the actor, Stephen says it during my watch-along reactions, the actor who portrayed Luke, he fucking didn't look like Luke. Didn't look like a young Mark Hamill. His hair was too dark. Come on, Disney. Come on, Lucasfilm. Don't you know how hair works? People who are fair-skinned, who have fair hair, they are born and grow up with even lighter hair than they possess as adults. When I was young, I had pure white blonde hair. And then it got darker and darker. I've got dirty fair hair. I don't actually have any fucking hair now. My hair's gone. But when I had it, it was dirty fair. It was a dirty blonde. But when I was young, it was much lighter. I had pure white hair. White blonde hair. Luke Skywalker has the same colour of hair as that I had when I was maybe about teens, maybe a bit lighter. So his hair should be like the Milky Bar fucking kid in this TV show. He's like a brunette. So my issues go deep with Obi-Wan. Regards Luke Skywalker. They could have done better casting. They could have portrayed him better. He was a bit of a cluzo. He's a bit clumsy. A bit useless. He trips over a boulder when he's being chased, and that's him, he's knocked out. It's like, really? We've just got fucking Leia performing miracles, rerouting wires and stuff, and opening up doors, and fucking turning evil droids good again at the flick of a switch. It's like, come on, fucking hell, it's the fucking Chosen One. This motherfucker, they're both the kids of the Chosen One, but he's the guy that fucking brought balance to the Force. What are we doing here? Come on, Lucasfilm. But anyway, he's going to say this. Of course they changed it. That's what I'm saying. That's the beautiful thing about how passionate Disney Lucas, how all of us are who are involved with it. It's from the beginning. We try really hard not to let anything of the bad just to protect you. Not to let anything of the bad just to protect your experience of seeing it for the first time. Ewan, were you drunk when you said these words, mate? Is it perhaps comicbook.com who have maybe misheard you and if they get AI to do this quote? I'm going to read that again. And I'm going to try and process it as I read it and see if the English makes sense for a second time. Because the last time I did this, it was me. My brain was broken reading a couple of minutes ago. Let's see if it's me again, shall we? I'll go through this one more time. Right, where are we? That's the beautiful thing about how passionate Disney Lucasfilm, all of us are, who are involved with it from the beginning, is involved with it is from the beginning is we try really hard not to let anything of the bad. I think that no, that doesn't make fucking sense to me. We're just going to move on. We're just going to move on from that quote. It's fucking gibberish. He did not say that, Ewan. Ewan's a great speaker. He's a great orator of the English language. A good Scotsman from Perth. He did not say that. I fucking refuse to believe that broken English came out of that man's mouth. We'll move on to the next quote, and hopefully comicbook.com have done a better job of writing it down. I think it's really cool that Disney and Lucasfilm care so much for the fan experience. They really want you to have a 100% experience the first time you see it. And if you've read that and that leaked and this came out, it's just a bit of a shame, isn't it? It's like looking at your Christmas presents before Christmas Day. Oh, I don't know, Ewan. I remember vividly back in the early 2000s getting a PS2, I think it was. And I got it early. I badgered to get on it, and it didn't spoil my Christmas at all. I quite enjoyed it. But I was older then. I see what you mean. If you're like young, you're like 5 or 6, and you see the Christmas presents early, it would ruin your enjoyment of Christmas. And he's right. Getting to see that Vader fighting scene on that desert planet in the darkness, unspoiled for the first time, it was a fucking great experience. I really enjoyed it. Getting to see the fighting between them where he overcomes Vader and he says, "See you around then, Darth," or something like that. That was a great moment. Getting to watch that unspoiled for the first time. So he's absolutely right. You're an idiot if you watch and read spoilers. Don't do it. You're ruining your enjoyment. He went on to say this is the final thing. This is Kennedy that said this, actually, Kathleen Kennedy. Mainly because everybody came together and had such an incredible time. Ewan had an incredible time. That's a lot of use of the word incredible. Hayden had an incredible time. Really hammering home it was incredible here, Kathleen. So certainly from that point of view, everybody involved, the fuck was that? It just flew by me. Would love to see this not end, but we really have to spend our time asking the question, why would we do it? If we were to decide to do anything more with the Obi-Wan character, we'd have to really answer the question why. Well, I mean, there's so much you can do. You can explore the whole Darth Maul thing. It was of course explored in Rebels, but you can actually do that up and do it in live action. There's always the risk that you actually ruin the brilliance of Dave Filoni's work on those TV shows. But you can certainly do it. You can. There's stories to be explored with Obi-Wan. Ewan's still young enough, and to be fair, probably too young to play that version of Obi-Wan. Alec Guinness, as brilliant as a man he was, as great an actor he was fucking haggard when he played Obi-Wan. He had a wig on. He was a lot more thinner. He was a lot more follically challenged, shall we say, than what Ewan is. So there's certainly a lot of scope, a lot of time for Ewan to come back and reprise the role of Obi-Wan. I think that personally there is more can be done. What I just spoke about, you can explore the relationship between him and Luke a lot better. Of course, they've kind of closed that at the end of the show by saying, no, you can have him. He can come with me when the time is right. I'll let him be a kid. But there's time to explore fucking things, man. Luke clearly knew who Ben was. He'd had a relationship that was established in A New Hope, unlike Leia. So there is room to do stuff with Ewan again with Obi-Wan. I'd love to see it personally. I really enjoyed Obi-Wan as a show. But as I says, going to close it by saying this. I was disappointed in the handling of Luke in the show. I thought we could have got more Luke. I thought they forced Leia into the show a bit. It was nice to see the relationship between Obi-Wan and Leia, because we didn't really get that in the actual movies. And I did enjoy the actress's performance, as young as she is, but I'd like to see more Luke. And the fact that they were originally focusing on Luke and Ben and made the deliberate decision to change it and give us more Leia instead, it slightly rubs me up the wrong way, I'm not going to lie. It does. But it is what it is. It's done now. We move on. I enjoyed it. What more can I say? I don't think I've actually got a topic bar for this final topic, because I flung it in as a little extra to speak about it, just because it blew my mind when I read this. I spoke about Tarantino about 5 minutes ago when I was speaking about Chris Nolan and Taylor Johnson. He's one of my all-time favourite directors. I love the guy. And a real encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to film, the history of film. I don't think there's much the guy's not seen, and he has actual hard copies. He's got fucking reels, original reels of movies. He's got a theatre in his house, I believe, or maybe he owns an actual theatre he goes and watches movies in. No one can criticise this guy's knowledge in film. He is literally the fucking Shangri-La of film. He's like the natural progression of a Hitchcock or something like that, a Kubrick. He knows it all. But I have to say, he's deeply misguided here. He is deeply misguided here. What the fuck is he thinking? I'm going to come right out and say it. What are you thinking, Quentin? His least favourite Indiana Jones movie will surprise you. It's The Last Crusade. It's The Last Crusade. It's his least favourite Indiana Jones movie. It's my fucking favourite, man. It's the best. For me. I know it's all subjective. Opinions are like arseholes. And he probably knows more than me. But come on. He's picked the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull over The Last Crusade. And his rationale behind it's strange. This is what I had to say. He was speaking to Real Blend podcast alongside long-time friend and collaborator Roger Avery. I hope Avery gave him a slap across the face when he said this. Because it's blasphemy. It's absolute blasphemy. What are you talking about? Even though it pains me to read this. This is what Quentin had to say about Indiana Jones. I don't know why I'm sitting at an angle, but I am. I've got my feet up. I like Crystal Skull more than the Sean Connery one. The Sean Connery one? Fucking Last Crusade! Bitch! The Sean Connery one. I don't like the Sean Connery one. I don't like the Sean Connery one at all. I'm saying Sean Connery so much here. It's losing meaning. I'm starting to lose the ability to pronounce Connery. That's such a boring one. What the fuck? It's boring. And he's not an interesting character. I completely... perhaps he isn't, but it's not about Connery. It's about Harrison Ford. It's about Indy. Or Junior. That's what the movie's about. He's a supplementary character. And he gave something different. He was like the only guy that could really tell him off and keep him in check. And you felt like you actually respected him. That he was keeping him in check. He was a maverick. A vagabond. Indiana. Or Junior. And to see him being slapped, maybe metaphorically about by his father in that movie, I thought it was just nice to see something different. Of course, he goes on to say the joke is made immediately. It's like Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. That was a movie that followed a similar thing. It was like a buddy movie, father and son or something like that, familial relationship. Yeah, it's strange for me that you'd come away with that. It's certainly not worse than The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was an abomination of a movie for me. And of course, the true irony is they do say in this article down below, they do the same thing in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's father and son. But of course, it's fucking an inferior father and son relationship explored. It's shit. I think he calls his son Mutt or something, doesn't he? Yeah, Mutt. I'm forgetting the name of the actor. It's shocking I'm forgetting that actor's name. I fucking love him. Why am I forgetting the name of Indy's son, the actor? Fuck, what's his name? Double Barrel. Shit, I'll never get it. It's lost my mind. That's another guy, incidentally, who was eccentric. Shia LaBeouf. It wasn't Double Barrel. It was just French. Another eccentric actor, much like Ezra Milligan, back to the start. He had a bit of a descent into madness as well. He was slapping fucking... what was his name? Alan Cummings. Slapping Alan Cummings' bottom at Broadway and then getting jailed. He was hitting the drink as well. But yeah, man, come on. They do the same thing in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in an inferior way. With, let's be honest, I like Shia LaBeouf, but Sean Connery's a better actor for me, even though he does have a Scottish accent and everything he fucking does. So for me, it's really strange to call it boring as well. I mean, I know, as I keep saying, it's all subjective. All film, all art is subjective. One man's trash is another man's treasure. You cannot... It may have a lot of issues. You may disagree with the creative direction of The Last Crusade. If you do, I don't. But it's not boring. Fucking hell. I watched it not long ago. And what took me with that movie was how unbelievably frenetic it is. How quick it is. It's unrelenting in the action. Absolutely rapid. The way they move through that movie. They don't stop for a breath. It's just constant. Even fucking Indiana goes off the cliff and they think he's dead. It lasts like 10 seconds. He's back up on his feet and they move on. It's not boring, man. It is not boring. That is a bygone era of filmmaking, man. We will never get back there ever again. That succinct storytelling. It's like 2 hours and a bit minutes, maybe even under sub 2 hours. Just brilliant. I love that movie. For me, that's the greatest Indiana Jones movie ever. Just typified everything that he's about. The character, you bring in Sean Connery. It's always good to add Sean into a movie. There's Nazis in there getting slapped about. What more do you want? It's brilliant. I think that's the one with the snake as well on the plane. Pretty sure it is. Is it? Maybe wrong. But I loved it anyway. And I think Spielberg made that movie. Fucking hell. He didn't make, I don't think he made the Crystal Skull. Maybe he did. I don't think he did though. So again, it's blasphemy. You're slagging Steven Spielberg, Quentin. Get the fuck out of here. Now, bitch. But man, share your thoughts down below about that as well if you get anything to say about that down below in the comment section. What's your favourite Indiana Jones movie? Do you have a favourite Indiana Jones movie? Do you think they're all shit? I'd be intrigued to get your thoughts on why that would be the case. Anything you share down below, we'll certainly get involved and reply to you. But wait, that's got to round it up. I'm done speaking. That's the show over. Touched on about 5 topics. There was about 3 topics in one topic, so really it's 8 topics I've touched upon. I'm intrigued to get your thoughts on everything I've spoke about in the show tonight. The comments section is the place to put it, down below. Share your thoughts there. Any of the tangents I've explored. Fucking Shia LaBeouf. My momentary moment of dementia, where I couldn't remember his name. Thoughts on the whole Ezra Miller thing. I'm really intrigued to get your thoughts down below about that. Do you think he can come back as Flash? I don't, personally. I think he can come back as an actor, but just not as Barry Allen. Anything you feel compelled to share, put it down there. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs for future live shows like this. Me and Stephen will be back tomorrow, maybe. Lord knows. Unless something happens. Maybe we don't wake up tomorrow and then there'll be no show. You can also hit the follow button and notifications thing over on Twitch as well to see us over there. Regardless of what you do though, the most important fucking thing you can do is, yeah, I don't know, I've lost the fucking plot. I think I've said subscribe already. Come back and see more dementia moments like this. Go on Patreon and give us a Patreon. Give us some money over on Patreon if you're rich and want to support the channel. We appreciate that. Seen someone actually did give us a Patreon earlier on. We appreciate every single fucking person on Patreon supporting the channel, man. When we get to a point where we know what we're doing in Patreon, we'll create content specific for that instead of just giving early reactions access to them. But we appreciate everybody. We'll maybe start listing names as well because we do fucking appreciate it. But look, man, I'm done. I'm gibbering shite here. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, bye bye. You know it's a bad end to the show when you say subscribe to the channel and then you're about to say, but the most important thing you can do is subscribe to the channel. You just fucking said it. I'm 33. I'm 33. I'm not 73. What am I going to be like when I'm in my 70s? Wow. Bye. Thank you, Sansarda and Par, for coming in and commenting. I forgot to say that. Thank you.